Now I see why Trump brags about having black friends. It's one of the only things that he could possibly brag about. But if you are so popular with black people, why is it always the same 4 or 5 around you all the time? Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Well, he finally did it. He finally did it. Donald Trump said the thing they always say when they get pressed on being racist.
When asked about how he responds to black voters who call him racist, here's what he says.
I have so many black friends that if I were a racist, they wouldn't be friends.
They would know better than anybody in Fast.
They would not be with me for 2 minutes if they thought I was racist, and I'm not racist.
And just to underscore the point, I'm not racist.
What is this? In case of racism, break open glass? Like, break open black friends in any emergency. Oh, I'm so glad I got you. Whew, whew, that was close. Whew, I'm so glad I got Lawrence Taylor. Whew, that was a close one. Now let's address the obvious.
Can people be racist and have black friends?
Yes, they can.
Great.
They can.
Glad
so
we addressed
you
this
just,
at the top.
and it doesn't mean anything. It says something about that relationship.
It says something about the relationship. It also says something about the black friends. Who are these black friends? You talking about Tim Scott and Herschel Walker? I don't think they have black friends. They would need to say the exact same thing. Also, I would add, it's actually more troubling that you even have to say such a thing.
I've probably all of my life heard every bigot I've ever talked to say that. That's usually their opening line, that some of my best friends are black. And you say that being defensive because it should be a given that you have friends that are black.
You know, when you got to tell me.
Can you, let's just.
When you got to tell me you got so many black friends.
The fact that you have to say it tells us that you really do have some biased tendencies, if not an outright bigot.
You know, bragging about black friends is like bragging about being faithful to your wife. Actually, you can't brag about that.
He told me I reminded him of his daughter. I felt like he was being sympathetic to me. It was really about two things: trying to keep the story from coming out so that it would not hurt my husband and my daughter and I wouldn't lose my life, and that there would be a paper trail and money trail linking me to Donald Trump so that he could not have me killed.
You can't. Okay. Bragging about that would be like bragging that you pay your taxes.
But just months after it opened, the Taj Mahal missed one of its debt payments, and Trump began looking for a bailout.
His empire could be at risk of collapse if the New Jersey Casino Commission decides not to approve Trump's bailout plan.
By the fall of 1991, all 3 casinos had filed for bankruptcy.
No, you can't brag about that either. That's like bragging that you provide for your family. How many bankruptcies he got? Now I see why Trump brags about having black friends. It's one of the only things that he could possibly brag about. But if you are so popular with black people, why is it always the same 4 or 5 around you all the time who can't come to the cookout?
And if you notice the crowd in the Bronx, he imported a crowd. He could even import a lot of blacks, and only blacks he put on stage was 2 indicted rappers.
These are part of the 8% of black people that have voted for Donald Trump. And again, you know what? I know some black people in my life that voted for Donald Trump.
Fine.
You know, that's fine. That's fine. But y'all are not the majority. It's like young people at bingo.
It takes real effort to go to a black church and have mostly whites in the audience. I mean, in Detroit.
What is that?
I've never heard of that. I've been preaching all my life, and I've never seen a black church in Detroit where the majority of the people in the audience are white.
See, those are sycophants and fanatics. A real black friend, and how we know you don't have them, would have told you that it's a bad look to always criticize leaders of color.
We should remember that he tends to take these kinds of jabs against leaders of color. If you also incorporate Tish James and Alvin Bragg, now certainly those are folks that have him in legal trouble.
Right.
However, but he takes these kinds of shots at leaders of color.
Trump would probably criticize the leader of his own party if he was black. Oh, wait, he did back when he birtherized Obama when he was a Democrat. The only thing that you won't do for black people is have them involved in your businesses.
You've not seen one black business person come into court and accuse him of giving them a deal. Not one. How do you be in business 40 years in New York, which is 2/3 black and Latino, and everybody you did business with was white?
Now let's see, what is more important? We got decades of conduct that's been detrimental to black people in America, or the opinion of Byron Donald and Lawrence Taylor. Oh, don't forget Chef G.
Everything about race, he's always race baited against blacks. So all you got to do is look at his record. And I've said to any of those that support him, show me where he was on the right side of any race issue.
And it is more BS from the man who argued for and will argue to this day for the execution of 5 innocent young black men.
He was the president, sitting in the White House, president, during George Floyd, probably the biggest race case of our time. What did he say about George Floyd? Oh, I'm sorry. He had them clear the protesters from in front of the church, held up a Bible, and condemned the protesters.
Who looks at the heritage that Simone and I come from on the great continent of Africa as whole countries.
This is the man that said when we saw the march in Charlottesville, where they were saying things to protect a Confederate statue, Robert E. Lee, and saying anti-Semitic things, he said they'll find people on both sides.
What Donald Trump do for black businesses?
Well, Donald Trump ain't done jack for black businesses, and he hasn't done during his 4 years. They'd like to tout, oh well, we did this, little program where we did some, something in the community, where largely white businesses took advantage of that.
He started with the Central Park five innocent young men in New York. He called for the death penalty. Or has he ever called for the death penalty for anybody else?
Joe Biden wasn't sued by the federal government because he refused to provide housing to black people.
Yes. You see, black people who manage to find it in their best interest to go against the communal interests of black people do not a black friends make. That is not the kind of in case of emergency savior that you're looking for. And now, what advice are these black friends giving you now?
For him to say that we are in some way synonymous with mugshots, he didn't say some blacks, he said the black population identified with it, because that's who we are, criminals, thugs. That's what he thinks of us.
We've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. They do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece.
For him to say that, imagine if Barack Obama had said that about whites.
And the moral of the story, I have black friends, or some of my best friends are black, is no defense against racism when those people hate black people too.